Dia dengar kan? Dengar kan? Okay, so hari ni kita nak tengok pasal reproductive system. First of all, kita start dengan male reproductive lah. Yang kita kena tahu pasal male reproductive system ni, dia ada organs, dia ada ducts, dia ada glands. And organs contain testes, ducts, glands and also supporting structure. And ducts tu saluran, dia contain epididymis, ductus prostate and bulbourethral gland. Supporting structure ni macam external lah, bahagian luar iaitu penis and scrotum. Ni bahagian ni lah, so benda ni kena ingat lah kot. Dia ada ni lah bahagian-bahagian ni. So ni lah scrotum, ni testis, yang ni seminal vesicle, yang ni urinary bladder. So benda ni basically kena ingat lah. So First kita ada scrotum. Scrotum ni dia macam set or pouch that hold the testes. Boleh jumpa outside of the body. Dia dekat sini. Scrotum keep outside due to sperm not developing at body temperature sebab sperm ni require temperature 2 to 3 Celsius below body temperature. Scrotum ni also contain the testicle and epididymis. Second, kita ada testis. Testis ni dia produce sperm and hormone testosterone. So ni bahagian dia lah. So epididymis ni sebenarnya is a tightly coiled tube that stores sperm, and vas deferens ni a thin muscular tube transport sperm from the epididymis to the urethra. So ni bahagian ni lah, testis. Ni lebih detail, boleh tengok lah. Lepas tu next kita ada spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis ni adalah the sequence of events in the seminiferous tubules of the testis that produce sperm. Bila berlakunya spermatogenesis ni, if someone hit puberty lah. Contoh macam someone hit puberty, berlakulah spermatogenesis ni. Ni ada meiosis. Meiosis ni contain cell have 23 pairs of chromosome. Dia ada diploid which is pair and also haploid which is unpair. And meiosis ni process by which this can happen, require for gamete production lah. And ni semua ni lah dia punya explanation. Ni. And the cell from meiosis 1 are secondary spermatocyte. Each cell is haploid, has 2 copy of each chromatid. Meiosis 2 divide again and 1 copy of each chromatid in each new cell. Cell are spermatids. Ni dia punya lebih detailed explanation lah. Dia divide semua-semua tu. Dia ada meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Next kita ada spermatozoa. Structure ada head, middle and tail. Ni head, middle and tail. Which is kena ingat lah semua benda ni. Ecosome, nucleus, net semua-semua ni. So katakanlah kalau tiba-tiba tak ada ekor ke, tak ada middle ke, dia punya sperm yang diproses tu, yang dihasilkan tu not a good quality one lah. Dia tak boleh nak produce, tak boleh nak ni lah. Kalau ada anak pun mungkin tak ni lah, tak okey lah. So next kita ada hormonal control. Dia 3 hormones are the principal regulators of the male reproductive system. Follicle stimulating hormone FSH, dia stimulate spermatogenesis. And luteinizing hormone LH, dia stimulate the production of testosterone. And testosterone stimulate the development of male secondary sex characteristic. And spermatogenesis. For more details boleh rujuk slide 21 dengan 22. Dia ada bagi lagi detail lah. So basically FSH ni follicle stimulating hormone and LH luteinizing hormone. Okay, androgen effect ni dia responsible for the development of secondary sexual characteristic in men. Contohnya facial hair, body hair, lepas tu voice change, and also dia boleh affect the bone and muscle development and also metabolism. Maksudnya akan tumbuh segala-gala tu lah. Suara pun berubah. Apa yang jadi after puberty lah. Skeletal growth, hair patterns akan tu lah. Thickening of skin, semua-semua tu. And then sperm root. Sperm root ni daripada sperm dia move to the epididymis and to mature and sperm move to the vas deferens to begin travelling through the male body. Next, seminal vesicle adds a nutrient-rich fluid high in fructose to the sperm, making a mixture called semen. The semen enters the urethra and move toward the tip of the penis and ejaculation happen. So laluan-laluan yang dilalu tadi tu akhir sekali akan jadi ejaculation lah. And then the function of the penis is to penetrate and deposit sperm into female reproductive tract. Contain urethra, there is a tube that carries urine and semen. The function of glans penis is to aid in entry the female reproductive tract. Is the enlarged tip of penis covered by foreskin mucus. Tu nama dia lah. Ni glans penis. Semua-semua tu. So and then arousal and ejaculation ni macam what happen when a male is aroused sexually. So if someone sexually active lah, so dia akan berlaku ejaculation lah. Tu je lah kot. Pika boleh sambung.
Okay. Jelas kan nak sangkut-sangkut bahkan?
Jelas.
Okay, the next is for female reproductive system, which is dia ada dua primary organ. The first one is ovaries and uterus. For ovaries, dia adalah pair organ that produce secondary oocytes, which is the ova after fertilization, and produce hormone, which is the progesterone and estrogen from same embryonic tissue as testes. And then uterine, also known as fallopian tubes and uterus. Ini adalah contoh for internal reproductive organ yang lainnya lah. Include vagina, uterus, cervix and ovaries. Okay, next Tika. Yang histological structure tu, dia terdiri daripada germinal epithelium, which is dia cover surface, and then ovarian cortex, which is connective tissue containing follicles. The cortex of the ovary contains ovarian follicles in different stages of development. Within each follicle is a germ cell called oocyte, enveloped by hormone-producing follicular cell. Yang di histological structure ni, only one follicle fully matures and reaches the surface, form a fluid-filled blister called Graafian follicle. The follicle bursts and release the egg, contain the process lah called ovulation. Next. Yang oogenesis ni nanti saya share link. Maybe sebab dalam yang video tu mudah faham. Okay, for next is uterine tubes. Yang uterine tubes ni dia dikenali sebagai fallopian tubes. Dia ada two tubes yang extend laterally from uterus, and in fringe tu dia dipanggil sebagai fimbriae. Fimbriae, dia sweep secondary oocyte into tube, and oocyte move by cilia lining wall. Zygote reach uterus in 7 days. Okay, next for uterus. Uterus ni dia pathway for sperm and site of implantation yang terdiri daripada fundus, body, cervix and uterine cavity. For fundus, dia dome-shaped area above tubes. For body, dia tapering central portion, and cervix, dia narrow opening into vagina, and uterine cavity, dia interior of body. Okay, so for vagina, dia extend from exterior to cervix, receptacles for penis and outlet for menstrual flow. Fornix, ni dia macam the vagina extends slightly beyond the cervix, creating pockets called as fornix, races around cervix lah. And then in vagina, we also have acid environment to prevent bacterial growth. A smooth muscular layer, it is for edges for intercourse or birth. And then thin membrane fold can cover vaginal orifice called hymen. Okay, next yang perineum and vulva tu. Okay, so perineum ni dia diamond shape area between thigh and buttocks of both males and females. Vulva or pudendum is it for external genitalia. Dia ada mons pubis, elevation of adipose tissue, and then dia ada labia majora, extends back from mons pubis, which is the thick folds of skin. And then dia ada labia minora, external to majora. So in perineum vulva ni juga kita ada clitoris, which is the small cylindrical mass of erectile tissue and nerve. Also contains prepuce and glands. Kita ada vestibule between labia minora. Kita ada external urethral orifice, which is the anterior to vaginal orifice. Kita ada para-urethral glands, either side of urethra, same embryonic tissue as prostate and secretes mucus. Greater vestibular glands, lepas tu greater vestibular glands, dia adds to mucus, comparable to bulbourethral glands. So yang tadi tu gambar rajanya lah, boleh refer. So, okay, next is mammary glands, which is also known as breast. Mammary glands modifies sudoriferous gland, which is dia terdiri daripada nipple, pigmented projection with opening. Also kita ada areola surrounds the nipple. Each breast ni dia ada 15 until 20 section called as lobes, dan each lobes tu dia ada has many smaller structure called lobules. Lepas tu this end in dozen of tiny bulb, alveoli, it can produce milk. So for female reproductive cycle, Ika next. Okay, female reproductive cycle ni dia ada dua jenis. Yang pertama ovarian cycle, and then yang kedua uterine cycle, which is known also as menstrual cycle lah. 24 until 34 days cycles in both ovaries and uterus. Ovarian cycle is maturation of follicle, ovulation and corpus luteum formation. Yang maksudnya Dia fokus kepada perubahan di dalam ovari tu. Kalau uterine cycle, dia dia fokus kepada changes in the uterus. And then controlled by hormones from ovary, which is estrogen for growth of endometrium and progesterone is for support endometrium for implantation. Kalau ni yang ovarian and menstrual cycle ni, combined cycle, that's what we call reproductive cycle. Okay, next is hormonal regulation. Okay, yang ini low levels of estrogen and progesterone stimulate the hypothalamus to release the GnRH, and then GnRH will stimulate the anterior pituitary to release the FSH and LH hormone. And then FSH will trigger follicle to growth and estrogen secretion. High estrogen will sudden spike of LH ni dia akan go to ovulation. Jap, kacang. Ini kau faham kah? Yang hormonal regulation ni. Yang high estrogen tu. Estrogen kah? Ya, eh. Belum, itu lepas ni nanti.
Apa dia tadi soalan kau eh? Apa dia? Ah. Hmm. Hmm. Maksud dia hormon apa yang low? Estrogen dengan progesterone juga ah. Ah, yep.
Yang hormon stop waktu pregnancy ya.
tahu HCG lah.
HCG.
HCG. HCG dia stop during pregnancy. Hormone tu dia stop during pregnancy.
LH kot, LH.
Patut yang prevent ovulation tadi. Progesterone dengan oh. Yeah.
Ya. Dengar, dengar. Thank you. Okay, next for hormone. Estrogen development and maintenance of reproductive structure and secondary characteristic, which is protein synthesis and growth. Also, lower blood cholesterol level. Progesterone is for maintain myometrium for implantation. Relaxin relaxes uterus and inhibits myometrium. Inhibin inhibits FSH release. Okay, so next, phases of cycle. Um, Basically, menstrual phase ni dia daripada day 1 until day 5 of cycle. Yang mana several ovarian follicles tu dia enlarge and decrease progesterone and estrogen, and uterine arteries constrict and endometrium slough off. For pre-ovulatory, dia ni between menstruation and ovulation, yang mana ovaries dia follicles to grow and secrete estrogen and inhibin in one dominant, and for uterus, dia growth of new endometrium. Next is phase of cycle. Yang ini pun nanti saya bagi link YouTube supaya lagi faham. Okay, so ovulation, dia release of 2 oocyte with LH surge. Okay, and post-ovulatory, ovaries tu dia follicle dia collapse and corpus luteum kita panggil sebagai luteal phase, yang mana menstrual cycle ni dia ada 2 phase. Yang pertama follicular phase and luteal phase. Kalau yang follicular phase tu dia daripada hari yang pertama sampai hari yang ke-14. And then luteal phase tu dia hari ke-14 sampai hari 28. If no fertilization, macam yang Kacang cakap tadi tu, FSH and LH will decrease and corpus albicans and decrease progesterone, dan dia akan menstruation. Kalau if fertilization and division, dia akan ada human chorionic gonadotrophin, iaitu hormon HCG, and then dia akan stimulate corpus luteum and secretion. For uterus, progesterone and estrogen, it will complete development of uterus for implantation. So ini summary of hormonal interaction. Okay, next. Okay, so ni birth control method. Kita ada 6. Yang pertama, surgical, tubal ligation in females, chemical interference, blocking physically, timing and abortion. For surgical, dia vasectomy in males, ductus different segment removed. For tubal ligation in females, the closed uterine tubes. For chemical interference, oral hormones, implants, injection, spermicide. Blocking physically, kita ada IUD, condoms and cervical cap. And for timing, temperature, mucus charting and calendar, and also abortion. For aging, puberty ni dia process of LH and FSH will increase, and then rise in sex steroids, it will growth and secondary characteristic, start of female reproductive cycle, and then follicles become exhausted, called as menopause, estrogen secretion declines, loss feedback on pituitary and high FSH and LH, and it will decline in estrogen supported function. In males, slower decline of function. Okay, so next, Tika.
So fertilization ni adalah persenyawaan lah. Fertilization is the action or process fertilizing an egg involving the fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote. Zygote ni macam a diploid cell resulting from the fusion of two haploid gametes. Erti kata lain, fertilized ovum lah. So bila berlakunya fertilization ni, dia akan build untuk zygote lah. So ni hari first, hari kedua and finally akan jadi zygote. So Ika?
Okay, jap. Okay, so for early development ni, dia dipanggil sebagai continual division, which is the ball of small cells. Yang ini ni nanti share video juga, sebab maybe akan faham. Sebab saya sendiri pun kurang faham, so sorry. Sama je yang macam placenta tu. And then fetal growth. Fetal growth ni dia pembesaran bayi tu lah. To the fetus. Kalau last for 2.5 month, yang fetal growth ni dia akan half of weight added lah. Okay, so proceed to hormone. Sorry to guys, nanti share video ya. Sorry.
Tidak
Okay,
apa-apa.
So for hormone ni, kita ada HCG, iaitu human chorionic gonadotrophin yang akan maintain corpus luteum yang to prevent menstruation from occurring, and then progesterone and estrogen continue to produce, peaks at week 9. So Korean secretes several hormones, estrogen after 3 or 4 weeks and progesterone by week 6, rise through pregnancy. And progesterone helps keep myometrium relaxes and cervix closed. Okay, next. Relaxin increases flexibility of pubic symphysis and ligaments and relaxes cervix for birth. And human placental lactogen, HPL, it will help to rises with fetal mass, prepare mammary glands, and support metabolic capacity. For corticotrophin releasing hormone, CRH, It will support for lung maturation. Yang endocrine support ni, trophoblast cell secrete HCG, and then HCG will maintain corpus luteum. Corpus luteum continues to secrete relaxin, progesterone and estrogen and chorion adds HPL, progesterone adds estrogen and CRH. Estrogen and progesterone promote growth and development and maintenance of the uterine wall. HPL supports maternal growth and changes of CRH and corticoids to lung maturation. So next to Tika.
And changes during pregnancy, uterus fill up pelvic cavity in the third month. Basically changes during pregnancy ni macam apa yang jadi masa ada baby dalam perut. So the baby akan tolak the intestine, and then skin changes, akan ada areola, stretch mark, ada pigmentation around eyes, and inilah blood volume, and then bladder pressure. Bladder akan frequent urination, maksudnya sebab the baby tolak the intestine kan, so akan kerap ke tandas lah. Okay. Next, exercise during pregnancy. Major issues, posterior changes with gain, extra heat production may affect development early on. Care to avoid dehydration. Moderate exercise doesn't hurt, may be beneficial. So labor and delivery. Labor ni expelling fetus from the uterus through vagina. Parturition basically bersalin lah. Akan ada contractions masa labor. So progesterone inhibits contraction. So estrogen rises toward end, and then overcome inhibition. Prostaglandin production, oxytocin receptor on myometrin, oxytocin to contraction. So oxytocin ni macam akan menaikkan lagi contraction tu lah. So stages of labor, dilation, onset to complete dilation of cervix, expulsion, dilation to complete delivery, placenta, powerful uterine contraction, expel placenta. So positive feedback ni, contraction akan jadi, and baby heads against cervix, so maksudnya masa ni baby dah nak keluar lah. And neural signal, hypothalamus akan ada more oxytocin and more pushing. So after birth when cervix is not stretched, through labor show rhythmic pulses of contraction. So maksudnya masa berlakunya contraction ni, berlakunya contraction ni bila baby nak keluar. So after baby dah keluar, contraction ni pun tak ada lah. So contraction ni berlaku semasa labor lah. And lactation ni the secretion of milk by the mammary glands, the action of suckling and infant. So ni milk production lah, prolactin milk production. PRL increases as pregnancy proceed, estrogen inhibits milk production, progesterone decrease after delivery. Colostrum, they form during first few days after birth, and they're less lactose and no fat, plus antibodies. So colostrum ni dia the first secretion from the mammary glands after giving birth, and very rich in antibodies. And it's very adanya colostrum ni untuk baby fight disease and also promote growth for the infant lah. So after lahir benda ni akan ada lah colostrum ni untuk baby fight macam demam ke apa ke. And inheritance. And itu ni macam perbahagian traits from each parent by one half, like macam contoh kalau parents dia, so ayah dia ada curly hair, so mak dia ada straight hair, so the baby akan dapat salah satu daripada tu je. So kalau contohnya ayah dia ada curly hair and baby akan dapat curly hair, so mungkin another baby akan dapat straight hair macam mak dia. Macam tu lah. And next, okay, autosomes and sex chromosome ni basically the male and female punya chromosome lah. The female have 2X and male ada X and Y chromosome. So ni adalah male chromosome sebab dia ada X and Y. So apa yang boleh kita faham bahagian ni, yang autosome ni, yang menentukan gender baby sebenarnya basically from the father, sebab the father yang provide X dengan Y. So kalau macam kita boleh tengok kat sini, kemungkinan besar untuk dapat lelaki dengan perempuan tu basically depends on the father lah, sebab the father provide the Y. Sebab yang menjadikan lelaki tu dia ada kromosom X dengan Y, yang perempuan XX. Tu je lah. Dah, habis dah. Oh, mitosis ni yang dia hasilkan sel anak tu kan?
Aku ke Syabira? Eh. Tak apa, tak jadi .
Kalau yang mitosis ni dia division of body cell. Kalau meiosis tu dia division of sex cells kah?